Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Collector Showcase. For anyone who's new to the channel or maybe watching back and hasn't seen us before, this is basically an episodic series that I do where I interview personalities, people who are investors, who have businesses, all in the collectibles hobby and the collectibles space. You'll see a lot of Pokemon people as well, which today that definitely applies. Today we've got a good friend of mine for now a few years. He is, I would say that he hasn't been on YouTube that much, but for the last week, I think he might be my number one seen guest at this point. But Nick, Old School Pokemon, thank you so much for hopping on, Nick. I know this is, like I said, the 17th one you've done this week, but I appreciate you coming on and spending some time with me, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I appreciate you having me on. I love this little series that you're doing. Excited that we finally got season 2 after 2 years. It was a very long time.
It was a couple of years. And what's funny is you were one of the first people in season 1 that I had on. I'm trying to remember who it was. It was you and oh, they're gonna kill me for not remembering. I'll have to go look. If you guys look at the backlog, look at the playlist, you'll find who Nick was on before. But it's been a long time, and a lot of things have changed for you in this hobby. And you were one of the people who pushed me constantly of, maybe it was 6 months after, and you're like, we're season 2. What are you doing, man? Where are the new guests? So I'm so happy to have you back on and to catch up, because you have been making some crazy moves in the last 24, 26 months. I mean, I think when we met, it was before, or not met, but when we did our last episode, you weren't doing eBay Live, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe you were kind of in an infancy, maybe some talks, trying to get on. For anybody, who doesn't know you, I'm sorry, we're not doing the traditional, how'd you get the hobby, what do you do? Nick Old School Pokemon is the Pokemon presence on eBay and eBay Live. So if you don't know him, you should do a Google search, because this guy is, how many nights now live a week are you? Is it 6?
Yeah, 6 nights a week now. Six nights a week now. This week I'm kind of taking it easy, which is nice. But normally Monday through Saturday.
Yeah, so if you were on eBay and you're buying Pokemon cards, you've either gotten the eBay ad for Nick, or you've seen him live at some point. Nick, I want to start, really with kind of talking about how things have been. I mean, how long have you been on eBay Live now total?
So we're coming up on 2 years now. We'll do my 2-year anniversary May 17th.
Okay, 2 years. So 2 years in May. So you're basically almost the last time we spoke actually on a series like this. So
yep.
2 years in, I don't want to ask a bunch of numbers and things like that now, but as far as your expectations, has it met your expectations? Far exceeded? I mean, I just feel like you've been grinding this so hard for so long. I mean, what does the payoff feel like? Where are you at now? And in your feelings around eBay, I mean, do you feel like you've kind of you were such an early adopter and a pioneer of this that you've succeeded, beyond your expectations, or is this pretty much what you expected to do at this point?
No, it's absolutely beyond any expectations I had. Just like sales wise, when was this? This was before I got started on eBay Live in May of 23. My 2023 goal was 750,000 in sales. Because of eBay Live, which I started in May 2023, I broke $1 million in sales that year. And then
so not even the whole, was that added up, or is that from May to December? Was that just total?
That's the whole year, January through December. Yeah, but going into 2023, like 2022, I did 600,000. So my goal for 2023 was 750, and I blew that one away. 2024, I think it was like 1.3 million, but that includes a move to Chicago, which took about a month. So could have been closer to 1.5 without that move. And then this year, I think we're going to do 2 million, hopefully.
Dude.
So no, it's been growing a good bit every year, which is way more than I thought.
Well, so one thing, I mean, first off, congrats. I mean, just, going from, 600 grand in 2022 to 3 years later, almost hitting 2 million. I mean, you talk about a compound scaling of a business. I mean, it's crazy. And, when it comes to what you do, and I think a lot of people, obviously the people very ingrained in this hobby who know who you are, know how hard you work at this. But for people who just sort of recognize the name Old School Pokemon, or maybe they jumped in a few lives, they see, you're arguably the most positive, happy person in this hobby I've ever met. Like you never don't have a smile on your face. You put in the hours, man, in scaling this business. I mean, I know that you've partnered with Walrus and he's helped you out, but you were so hesitant on bringing in help. I mean, you've truly, boots on the ground, grown this thing yourself. Why have you been so hesitant in expanding employees and things like that? I mean, I couldn't tell you how many people would probably hit 1 million in revenue and go, okay, I need a whole team around me. I need content editors. I need people packing my orders. What is it about the control aspect of you growing this business that you've clenched it like so tight and you're just not willing to kind of let the reins out for, like everybody else does?
The biggest thing is it's my baby. I don't want to give up any control over it. In case something bad happens. And then even just I have very, very like specific ways I do things. And so giving up control of any type of aspect and having somebody else control that aspect is always been really, really tough for me. So that's why I've always done everything myself. But it got to the point where I was not able to do everything myself. So I had to give up certain aspects. Which even so like right now, Walrus does all the shipping. Even something like that, giving up the shipping, which really it's not that big of a deal. It's behind the scenes work that really nobody cares about. Even giving something like that up was really, really tough for the first week or two. But then getting used to it, knowing that he does a good job, he gets stuff out, all that stuff. Looking back, it's really, really nice to have that kind of help.
Do you think that could apply to maybe some other part of the business in the future? I mean, I feel like there's always got to be, I think if there's someone's going to push the envelope to grow to a certain point, you're going to be the guy who does it solo. But eventually there's going to be some hurdle, right? There's going to be some sort of growth that you just physically, and I mean truly physically, you don't have enough hours in the day as a single human being to be able to do. What does the future look like for you as you continue to expand? I mean, I know, everybody knows, Dan Catch 'em All Collectibles. He has, he's almost, it's funny that you guys are almost two sides of the same coin. He's all about, I want to relinquish everything. I want to control it, but I want everyone else to do everything for me and outsource. You're like, I want to control everything and I want to outsource as little as possible. And I want to basically grow it myself. Do you feel like you'll hit a point to where if you can't do anymore, you're happy at that size? Or do you think there's going to come a point where you go, look, I've got to do something. And if I want to continue to grow, the demand is still there. What does that look like for you in the future, I guess, as you continue to grow? Because I mean, if you go by the multiples that you've been growing year over year, this year might be 2 million. What are you going to do if you hit 3 million next year? I mean, just thinking of the sheer amount of orders, I feel like Walrus is going to literally like become another one of you. He's not going to have time to ship out all this stuff. So what does that look like, I guess, in the future for whatever goals that you've got?
No, it's getting someone else to stream is going to happen at some point. And the past 2 weeks are like a really good eye opener of that, because we had Chicago Collecticon this past weekend, and Bierski and Wonder flew out on Thursday morning. So I didn't do any lives Thursday, Friday, all Collecticon weekend, and then even the beginning of this week I've taken off to kind of recover from Collecticon, sort through what I bought, all that good stuff. So I haven't been live in about a week, and because of that, I haven't made any sales. I've got my normal eBay sales that are going on, but the 90% of my sales are through eBay Live now. So when I'm not live, I'm not making any money. And obviously going live 6 days a week is really tough. So
Right.
at some point in the semi near future, it's going to have to happen where I get somebody else to start doing some streams, even opening it up to daytime streams as well. It's going to have to happen at some point. I don't want to be content with where I am and just keep doing this. It's going to happen at some point.
Well, I feel like that's the conundrum, right? It's like, you want to retain control, but there comes a point where you've grown so large that control hinders your growth. So it's like a feedback loop of like, what am I going to do here? Do you think, once you do start expanding, I mean, and I know you've talked about this in other lives and things like that, so we don't have to go super down the rabbit hole, but I know eBay Live is kind of your main, that's really your brand. I mean, it really has become a part of your brand at this point. Other platforms and things like that. I mean, do you feel like, I won't ask you necessarily what platforms, you're more than welcome to mention them, but do you think that you would try to scale eBay Live first, like with maybe daytime streams and things like that before jumping over, like basically just maximize your existing medium and then jump to another? Or do you think that you will, hey, I'm really doing really well on eBay Live, let me go ahead and start building this other one and kind of try to do it all at the same time? I guess what's kind of the strategy in your mind, like as you continue to do this and plan for that, I guess, going forward?
I think eBay will always be number one. That's definitely always going to be the biggest thing. I don't know much about it. Obviously nobody does right now, but Probstein's platform Bid. That one could be interesting. And if there's an opportunity to go over there and do eBay and Bid, I think that would be the number one choice, to where it's such a new platform, kind of get on the ground level of that one as well.
Okay. Well, so I'm curious, especially going with something new. I mean, I'm seeing a little bit of a trend here, like, early adopter on some of these things. Is the thought process like you just want to get ahead and you don't want to have to compete with like established people as much? I guess what's the thought? Because I mean, you could say, yeah, I'm going to go take Dan down on Fanatics Live. Like, let's go. You could be like, hey, I'm going to go to Drip, and if Pokey and E or whoever else is on there, like, yeah, bring it on. I'm old school Pokemon. I've never even heard of Bid, so until you mentioned it. So why something like that versus something that's really, I don't want to say Bid's not established because I don't know it as well, but obviously very well known brand, things like that. Why would you go with something like that when you're already at arguably the biggest brand, as of right now?
So I really like being on eBay in the beginning, because you get to work closely with them and be in communication on what kind of updates are coming, what improvements they need from you, so on and so forth. So it's really nice being involved in that kind of building process to make a good platform. And then the other aspect of it is I like, there's a lot of things there's a lot of ideas that I do like about Bid. One of the biggest things is Probstein's idea is that I would stream, and then everyone purchases from my stream. At the end of my stream, I package everything up into one box, mail it off to Probstein, and from there, the people who bought in my stream can buy from other streams, and all the streamers mail their packages to Probstein, and then Probstein packages all those individual orders and mails them off to the buyers. So obviously where shipping takes so much time, in theory, that could be a really, really good idea.
I mean,
there's a lot of logistics that go into that, and there's a lot of things that could go wrong. But in theory, it's a really solid idea.
That is, I've never heard that. I don't know operationally how that works for the end consumer. However, it's not like Probstein isn't used to sending packages at this point. I mean, I don't even know what his total eBay sales are, not even year to date, but lifetime. That is interesting. I mean, because that could be something, especially, other consigners, start looking at, hey, if we're a part of something, or I mean, you're really building almost a distribution model versus just being a consigner. Like you're becoming a distributor of goods, at that point, almost a shipping company, really. Yep. Because especially, I mean, how many individual items would you say on eBay right now you're shipping out a week?
So I'll do 120 auctions a night. And then there's probably anywhere from 100 to 500 packs a night. I don't do pack ripping every night. I do pack ripping five nights a week. But then 120 auctions a night. So it's a well over 1,000 individual items every week.
That is so. Yeah, I'm just thinking. You're one person, and just getting. It's almost like they're taking a PSA backlog at that point. I mean, they're just receiving package after package after package. I mean, I really hope. I mean, I know you've basically made your return to YouTube. You took a week off of eBay and couldn't stay out from in front of the camera, so you're back.
Yeah, exactly.
I would so love, and I'm sure anybody in the chat, if you guys want to chime in on this as well, I would love to see kind of updates on your end, like what that experience is like. Because I know with eBay, you started it, you took off. I mean, the sales speak for themselves, right? Like you just crushed it, this whole time. Which, I mean, right now, are you on eBay? Are you the number one Pokemon streamer on eBay Live at this point?
I think I'm up there. As far as sales, I think Ryan's Card House is probably number one. I think me and Crave are probably number two, number three. eBay they recently did a competition to see who could get the most cumulative watch hours on Poke Nights, they call it, which is every Friday. So they did a competition to see who can get the most cumulative watch hours between, so Central Time, it started at 5 p.m. and went until 4 a.m. So that was like the time frame window that you had. So you can go live anytime during that time frame. Obviously, I went live right at 5, and I tried to go as late as possible. Some nights, the first night I ended at right around 4. Second night I ended like 3. There was one night I ended at like 1. So I never made it till 4 every night. But I actually won that competition. I got first place there, which was awesome.
Dude, congrats!
I am definitely up there in terms of sellers on eBay Live right now, which is really, really cool.
Well, I know every time I catch one of your streams, which is funny, it's either the algorithm or because you're a safe seller, I don't get alerts for anybody going live on eBay except for you. It's just random too. It's like not consistent. It's just eBay's like, hey, old school Pokemon's live, and I always click it. I always jump in. So I don't know why they don't push those out more often. But one thing I've noticed is, I mean, you have. Because you do a really cool thing when people jump in your eBay Live. It's like the first person who says, "Are you still doing like the password thing or like the?"
I gotta start doing something like that again. I did that for a while and that was really popular. But then I stopped and I never got back into it. I gotta come up with some idea again though.
Well, Walrus kept giving away packs to people who were second, third place. So it makes sense. But you were kind of losing money by that point when the help was giving it away. No, but I always thought it was, everyone who came back, it was like everyone has inside jokes, everyone has things they say to you, and you recognize so many people. I mean, I don't know I'm sure you have that statistic, or at least eBay does. I mean, just the return audience that comes back to your streams so consistently. It's one thing that I've talked about, especially with more content creators and like YouTube people. It's like, it's amazing that you're able to build such a core audience who's willing to support you over time. And I think that one thing that's always stood out with you to me is that you always make it a point to have a relationship with anyone that you talk to. I mean, you read every single comment that comes in eBay Live, which if you guys haven't been on eBay Live, I mean, those things are super quick, and I think they're real time because there's no delay in them at all. But yeah, just amazing stuff, man. I know we spent the first few minutes talking primarily about eBay, but being such a big part of your brand, I mean, I just wanted to hear how things are going, how it compares. I guess kind of last main topic on that, as you continue to grow, I mean, do you see yourself doing these type of streams yourself 5-10 years from now? Like, is there even a timeline? I mean, is there a goal that you're working toward to where you're like, hey, I can finally take the foot off the gas? Or are you just driving this thing till the wheels fall off, like as much as you possibly can?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. I'll never stop streaming. I enjoy it too much. Like we said, there's gonna come a time where there's other streamers that have to help out in order to grow. But I'll never be a Dan and not actively stream at least a couple times a week.
Okay.
Just because I have way too much fun doing it. It's so much fun. I really do enjoy it.
I feel like "Never Be a Dan" should be put on like one of your stickers at some point. Like, "I'll never be a Dan," and just pass those out. So okay, all right. So we've kind of covered eBay. I could talk the whole stream about that with you. So maybe a couple other things. I know right now a lot of the big content creators, especially. I know you're not super big on YouTube anymore. We want you back regularly if you can even fit it in your schedule. But we've got Dustin Rivals coming out. Those cards and everything just got announced, and everybody saw them. Everybody hates them. Everybody loves them. Everybody's right in the middle. It's mid set. Journey Together. Basically the boom's over. Right? There's no more hobby because things dropped from all time highs. With you right now having such an ear to the ground, like with an audience, are you navigating anything differently because of the last 60 days at all? I mean, what do you think, like, as far as people who are engaging in this? I know there's people who watch this for like, collector content or, some investment business content. Like they want plays, right? We're not going to give you guys plays. I'm not going to talk about plays. I think it's kind of oversaturated in YouTube, but are you navigating as someone who has such a large business? Are you navigating differently because of the psychological shift in the way that people are just, clickbaiting all this negative content about the hobby? Or are you pretty much just seeing dollar signs because of buying opportunities? I guess maybe walk me through someone who is on the streamer side primarily. How do you see this market in the last 60 days? Like, are you doing anything different?
No, I'm doing the same as I've done before. I don't enjoy this market. I don't like having my allocations get cut so low and having to pay so much for a sealed product. But no, I'm doing the same as I've done before. The viewership in live streams, obviously, for the most part, it's a lot more casual than most of the people watching YouTube content like this. But the people who are actively engaging in the stream are still loving Pokemon as much as before. I know we got the Team Rocket leaks. Was that yesterday? A few days ago. Whenever
yeah, I think it was yesterday. We saw the blurry ones, and now we've got a little bit more like clear. It always happens that way, right?
Yeah, exactly. I've gotten 5 or 10 Instagram messages from people who are in my live streams with the videos and the pictures of the Mewtwo and the Moltres and all those cards. And for the most part, they all do like those cards. There's some talk on whether the Mewtwo's better or the Moltres is better, but for the most part, there's no negativity towards the Team Rocket release. It's not all doom and gloom. People are definitely excited for it. People definitely want to rip it, which I was surprised by given the price point of Team Rocket. It's gonna be an expensive Japanese box, which I was wondering if people were still gonna want to rip it, but it seems like people are definitely gonna want to open it still.
What are the prices on the Japanese box now? I saw 200 floating around. I don't know if that's even remotely true. I don't follow as much on the Japanese boxes other than what Retro posts, and he hasn't posted it yet. So, to my knowledge, what are they running now? I mean, I know they're $40, $50 MSRP boxes, which we left that behind a long time ago, right? What are they running now?
So Retro actually posted his story just a couple hours ago. He's doing $155 a box. So okay. Pricing has come down a good bit on them, which is awesome to see. So if I can get them for whatever. I know Retro's at $155. I'm hoping someone else is a little bit cheaper. We'll see. It would probably be like 170, 175-ish a box. So a lot more than any other Japanese set that we've seen at release.
It's so crazy to think about, because I was, when I did my stream with Rob from Red or Blue, I guess it'd be a week and a half ago since I had some reschedules. I came to the realization I've been doing this for like 7-ish years, almost 8 years, which is wild. In my mind, time just literally flies by. Mm-hmm. Japanese boxes don't sell for $175. Like that's not a thing.
No.
it's kind of wild, when you see like what's happening in this. I mean, a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, all these." And again, I try to separate myself, and I've talked about this in a couple of streams as well. It's hard to take YouTube content as the hobby's mindset, because the things that get clicks are the boom's over. This has dropped 30%. This has dropped 10%. Oh no, this random illustration rare that for no reason should have been a few $100 is now only 100, right? Like that.
Yep.
That's the type of stuff that gets people hype. Um, with the market right now, and especially what the Japanese set is doing, I mean, what do you feel like the English set is going to be like? I mean, you kind of have to have both, right? Like, to correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, you want it as soon as it comes out because people want the cards. What are you going to do on English when it comes out? I mean, I don't know how your allocations and stuff like that are with your distribution, but say distribution's small, do you just buy in the secondary market? There's not a retro for English that I've seen, or one that would be that nice. So what do you see when that comes out if things stay the same?
It's so tricky. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Journey Together came out, and I did MSRP for Journey Together, and sold out instantly. Luckily, I was able to get a little bit more off the secondary market after that. And then obviously pricing had to go up. But if I can get similar numbers to Journey Together, I would hopefully I can get more than Journey Together. But even if it's similar numbers to Journey Together, I would love to do the same thing with Team Rocket. Assuming boxes aren't absurdly high, I would love to do the whole MSRP drop.
Yeah, it's because I've seen a lot of TCG player people talking about that and saying like these boxes are pre-selling for $350. Like, what are people doing? Mm-hmm. But then I hear about a Japanese box that's $175, and I'm like, that's not too crazy to think about.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, I really hope Pokemon has been printing a good bit of Destined Rivals. We'll see what happens.
It's possible. I mean, when I had Leonhardt on the stream, a few weeks ago, I mean, he even said that his contact at Pokemon, which, who can say they have a contact at Pokemon at this point, said that they just did not plan for the demand, because demand is dynamic, but printing is, for the most part, probably pretty static. I mean, they plan these things so far out in advance. It almost makes me think, are they turning the printers on like crazy to backfill all these other sets? Mm-hmm. Are we just going to get more and more Surging Sparks? Is that really the main thing they're printing at this point? And then Destined Rivals, we get, early 2026. It's hard to know, because I think one thing that I've read a lot of, and again, like you mentioned, there's a lot of casual people that have come into this who are new to this. And, I browse like the Reddit threads and just kind of get an idea of like a pulse of like, what's the new person into this, like looking at,
Yeah.
And one thing when they start getting kind of in the weeds on Pokemon printing, I think that they think that Pokemon is just trying to print a ton of the most new set that's out there, right?
Yeah,
like that's all they're focused on. But it's like that hasn't even hit the shelves yet. Like what they're really focused on are the things that are selling well, that are proven out. So it will be interesting to see, because I know that even when people are talking about the Pokemon hobby, or like the interest is waning off a little bit because just people can't buy products, so many people are leaving. You have Destined Rivals drop on Pokemon Center. 2.2 million people in the Pokemon Center.
That was wild.
And I've had a few conversations with people kind of offline about this, is that Pokemon Center is not like a major retail site, right? Like there's a ton of people in this hobby who don't know Pokemon Center is a thing. They just think Pokemon is sold at Best Buy, it's sold at Walmart, it's sold at GameStop, and that's it. But there's 2.2 million people on the American Pokemon Center site alone knowing that there's something there. Yep. So it's kind of crazy to see. And I'm always curious, especially with people like yourself, who are streamers, because you have almost a little bit of a disadvantage, kind of an advantage, but a disadvantage as well, in the fact that you have to have product. Because if you don't have product, you don't have content. And granted, I don't think you're running out of content. But, you can't just come on every day of the week and say, I've got XY packs or something. Like, there's going to be a limit to interest and stuff like that. People are going to want the newest thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Have you seen anything as far as, distribution? Like, I mean, I'm assuming that you probably ask for more and more every single time, a new set comes out at this point. I mean, you see the demand. What has it been with your relationship with your distributor or multiple distributors? I mean, has there been anything on their end that they've said like, we're trying, or print runs are just down, that's why we can't get you stuff? I mean, that's kind of the universal excuse I hear, right? But what are you hearing for someone who does so much volume? What are they telling you?
I don't hear much. I don't hear much. No, the only thing I hear is the stuff that everyone knows. More accounts are trying to get Pokemon. Um they have really big sports accounts that are now wanting Pokemon, and obviously
Mm,
because these accounts are so big, they need to allocate Pokemon to them. Which I hate that whole thing. I think your account should be based off of what you order. So if
the
you're only
product.
ordering sports, you should be at the bottom of the list for Pokemon.
But how does P
Um,
football? How does P football Pete fit into that then? You know, the guy orders literally everything.
that is true. That is true.
I guess he gets it no matter what. Hey, if you order a ton of this, like sure, whatever. I
Yeah,
mean, do you think that
exactly.
there should be? I
Exactly.
mean, I guess it. So you think it should be product specific then? Like
I
if
think it
there's a
should be.
certain
I think it should
threshold,
be.
yeah. I mean, it is interesting to think about, but also, kind of going that model, it makes it think like, well, what if what if Pokemon goes the, and it's not going to do this, but what if Pokemon goes the route of like Dragon Ball Super,
Mhm.
and you have to scale it so far back, right? Like it's like, I don't know, it's so complex in that, but I mean, I've heard so many people just really crap on distributors and like what they're doing and raising prices. I kind of get it. I'm gonna not like that as a distributor. I think there should be some sort of price fixing, which I'm usually not a fan of at anything. But I'm like, come on, you're a distributor, like you're not a retailer.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Exactly.
but when it comes to them deciding who to allocate product to, I feel like that's their business model. Like that's something that people should not hold it against them as much. Now, granted, I can see on the end user side of yourself, it's like, hey, why is this sports guy who can't even pronounce a set now wants like all of my pallets of this newest thing because he heard about it and still doesn't know what he's going to do with it.
Yeah, yeah.
I can kind of get that. I mean, but I mean, what do you think, like, when it comes to that? Because I know it's someone who has to constantly get product. I mean, you want to obviously avoid the secondary market as much as possible, which you can't. I mean, you have to buy stuff. Um, is there any specific like change in the way that product gets from Pokemon to you, not the end user, but from someone who actually buys it as a business? How would you structure that? I mean, if you thought like, wow, this could really be done a lot differently, and here's what I think would happen, or is it just the model's the model, and that's just where we're at? Like that's the best we can come up with.
I don't think there's any better solution. I think you need Pokemon distributing it to distributors, and then distributing it, or distributors distributing it to stores, and then stores selling it to the end consumer. I think it's just too massive to cut out any of those chains. I think it would be a logistical nightmare to cut out distribution and have Pokemon sell directly to stores.
Right.
That's something that Walrus has talked about, and I cannot see that working. I think
They don't have they probably don't have the operational bandwidth to do it anyway.
yeah,
If you think about it.
exactly.
What about the pricing adjustments that they've done when it comes to distributors deciding to just mark things up because secondary market? This is what I've heard. I'm not trying to push that as like that's what all distributors are doing. If
Mhm.
there are, I highly doubt there's a distributor watching this, but if he is, I'm not saying that about anybody. Okay, leave me alone, Southern Hobby. I'm sorry. What I mean, because with myself, that's how I feel. I feel like if they are a distributor, it's actually probably one of the most static margin models you could possibly have. I think it should be that way because literally you are a shipping company. That is your job. You're
Mhm.
not selling product. I mean, you are to a certain extent. Like, build a battle deck's got to go somewhere, right? But like, I mean, what do you feel like, with people saying like, we used to be able to get boxes for $80 and now hey, you can have these boxes at $175. Like, I feel like that's kind of ridiculous. Do you agree?
I can see both parts of it. When they're selling at market, I think that is a little ridiculous. and not all distributors do that, which is good. But then, like when like Evolving Skies, we got the reprint of Evolving Skies. When we got that one, Evolving Skies booster boxes were like 200. They dropped down to like 160, and we were paying 120 on them. 120, 130. So that there was still decent margin to be made, and I think stuff like that is okay. I don't like it, but I think it's okay. But when they start charging retail or whatever market prices, that I don't.
CG player price is like distributed.
Yeah,
price.
exactly.
Yeah, that's always been one that kind of, I don't know, because I've thought a lot about it, because I hear a lot of content creators who have businesses in this who have distribution. I don't personally have distribution, especially at this point. I don't necessarily feel I need it with the things that are going on. It's like I'm basically getting a pretty similar price if I'm able to get something in MSRP, which is kind of wild to even say out loud.
Yeah.
But, you know, my thought is there's got to be some sort of like algorithmic way to decide, like, hey, there's a ton of demand. And I feel like it should be based off allocations, or not allocations, I'm sorry, but supply.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's got to be some form of like, well, this is how much we have. Maybe it's a small restock or a small reprint or whatever that looks like. And we've got X amount of accounts. So that decides the price. Granted, if secondary market sucks, then it doesn't matter. It's just hard to kind of think about, like, you know, is it good? Is it bad? Is it just the cost of doing business? So I'm always curious for anybody who deals with distribution, if they're even vocal about it, if they even have a reason, if they even have an excuse, or if they're just like, Nick, do you want the boxes? Why are you even asking me about this?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. No, that's the thing. They know whatever they get is going to sell out at whatever price they put it at. So if I don't want it, they'll just move right on to the next person.
Yeah, there's another Timmy house ready to pay $140 for somebody's ETB and call it a day. Yeah,
exactly.
Well, you know, I guess as it relates to, you know, kind of the product side and things like that, I mean, I know you said you're not necessarily doing anything different, but I do know that you are not vending any shows this year. Is that right?
So there's a lot of local shows around, and Walrus and I have started vending some of the local shows. But the purpose of vending is more so to be behind a table to get better deals on stuff that we're buying. Have people come up to us with collections, and when you're vending, it's okay. Everyone's saying we're paying 70-80%, whatever it is. But when you're walking around a show, it's a lot tougher to buy stuff for 70-80%. So that's why I've started vending again, is to start being able to buy more stuff at better rates.
So you're paying in to buy. Is basically what I'm hearing.
Yes, that's exactly. We're gonna turn into one of those vendors that just have cash in the case.
Yeah. It's like there's just no product. It's just open booster boxes with hundreds ready to buy.
Exactly.
You know, because it is interesting too. Because I mean, I'm in Dallas, and there are so many. I mean, there's literally local shows all around me. Every single week, there is something, you know, happening. And I just came back from, it was a couple of weeks ago. I went to North Texas Card Show, which, you know, is pretty under the radar. I don't expect most people to even know what it is. And they planned for 5,000 people in a day to come there, and they had to turn away people at the door by like an hour after open. They hit capacity like crazy. Actually, if anybody sees Leonhardt's video where he got a lot of flack for like his trade up challenge video and all of that, that was the show he was at.
Okay.
You could barely move. It was on one day. It was on a Sunday, and I've never seen anything like it. But I was lucky enough to shout out Medikai. I helped him get set up and had my wristband, got to walk around and kind of do my buys and stuff with the tables before it got crazy. But one thing you do make a good point of, and I haven't really thought about this, depending on what side of the table you are on, it is really hard to negotiate that discount if you are buying. Because I personally, I've stopped vending shows, like even Dallas Collecticons. Like, I mean, there's a chance I might vend, but it's highly unlikely because I want to just be able to walk around and buy. And ultimately, I want to be able to eat lunch with people like you instead of being stuck behind a table and like, can someone please bring me a sandwich to eat for 9 hours? it is interesting to think about that kind of strategy of like almost like paying to buy. Because even the vendors I've spoken with, there were multiple tables I went into that, I wanted to buy 15, 20 slabs. We're at, I don't know, $4,000 buy, roughly something around there. And I'm thinking like, I can't ask for 70% in good conscience, because I'm buying, right? But I'm like, hey, can we do, 85 on this? Could we do 80 maybe or something like that? And one thing I've run into the wall with is no one wants to sell under 90 if they're a vendor. It just doesn't make sense for them.
Well, it's tough too because you have these massive streamers that are paying 90% of market because they can get 120 whatever,
right?
And they just need the product, so they're paying up like crazy. And then plus pricing going up every other day doesn't help.
Well, it brings up a good point when you say that, because that is an interesting strategy, because it's almost like, if you're someone who is kind of starting out as a business in this, and, I've done this for a little bit, never at scale. I've grown a lot more in the last 6-7 months as everyone else has. I mean, if you've even been remotely doing things in here, you've hopefully made some good moves. So I've tried to scale quite a bit, and I've had success. I don't necessarily have a brand or a name out there, but, people will work with me on stuff normally just because you're engaged in the community. I'll help you out, you help me out. It's pretty straightforward. But someone coming in new wanting to maybe buy product or buy a collection or be able to like flip something or grade something, I don't think there's ever been a time that I've been in the hobby where there's more hurdles to do that at this point. I think there's plenty of sales funnels at 80%. I think that's something that's definitely there. But I think, with PSA borderline shutting down at this point, I'm not sure where my cards are, what they're doing. They've been staring at my cards, trying to ID them for like 90 days at this point. I don't know what's happening.
They're not even staring at them. Your cards are in a cardboard box.
Yeah, we've got Nat Turner coming on next week, so I'll be sure to ask him that. Which anyone who's watching, that's the PSA CEO, founder, maybe not founder, but he's a PSA CEO. So we'll find out some answers hopefully next week. But, for someone coming in, I mean, even if they are able to, have stuff to send off, it's taking months and months to get back. I think 6 months is pretty regular for most people I've spoken with who are even in Collectors Club or like even, sending at some of the higher tiers, and having to be able to buy, at a discount that makes sense to be able to make money here because they don't have a brand, because they don't have a stream audience or something like that. So, let's say you're not old school Pokemon, you're random guy, you're just Nick. You're just Nick with money in his pocket, ready to go make something happen. What would you recommend to somebody like trying to do this? I mean, when it comes to sales funnels and being able to buy stuff and make profit, I mean, is it basically just eBay, eat the fees, call it a day? I mean, how do you beat out some of these streamers paying 90%? I mean, is it just more local shows? Like, what are your thoughts? Hopefully I've formulated that. I know I tend to ramble a little bit, but how do you navigate all these hurdles that in my opinion are taller than ever, than I've ever seen?
It's tough. I don't know what I would do. I know I would probably say figure out what's a 9, what's a 10, and go to local shows or go to local card shops and just spend the time going through singles to potentially grade. I know, like we were at CollectCon Chicago, and I know Spat was able to pick up a whole bunch of cards that he thought were going to be able to 10 and send those off to PSA. So I think that's probably going to be your play. It does take forever to get those back.
Well, and there's been conversations about a possible PSA grading scale change. I've felt it. I don't know. This is not me saying that that's what's happened, that's true or anything like that. But one of our mutual friends just recently sent off a 90 card sub, and I think he had, I forget the exact number. It was either 12 or 20. There was a 2 in there. 12 or 20 PSA 8.5s in that one sub.
Oh my God.
Now, this could be a one-off. His account could be flagged, was kind of the joke. But it seems like, a lot of cards are getting hit pretty hard now with them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they've made some sort of adjustment. It seems like it, just based on consistent experience. People track their, gem percentages. We all try to shoot for 70% gem rate, hopefully, and that's my number. Maybe some of you guys shoot for 90. I don't assume anything. I'm like, if I hit 70, I'm a gold mine. I'm ready to go. But recently, a lot more people have gotten less. So that's again another hurdle, kind of. If they are in SPAT, if he's able to get raw cards, great, super clean, perfect, nails them off, eights. There's always that challenge as well.
Oh yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, because I know that you've been grading a lot more with CGC, almost primarily at this point.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's primarily turnaround time, so you can actually have slabs in hand to move?
Turnaround time and price. If you have a membership with CGC, so you pay whatever it is, it's like $300 a year to get like the 20% off membership. What was that?
They give you grading credits as well. Like, it's like a crazy amount of grading credits in that membership, I think.
You get some type of credit, and then you get a discount on everything that you submit. So you get 20% off their advertised rate. So instead of paying whatever the $12, whatever it is, you're paying $9.80. So you're literally paying basically half of what it costs to send a PSA. And then you're getting those cards back in a lot quicker time frame. Plus, fortunately for me, people in the streams genuinely do enjoy. $150 credit.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
People in the streams genuinely do value CGC, and when you're talking pristine 10s, you're getting a premium over PSA 10s. So I really do like CGC, and I'm going to continue sending more and more stuff to them over PSA.
Well, I know that, we talked privately. I'm like, what do you want to know from that? There's a few people that I've asked, like, hey, what should I ask this guy about? Because it's literally next week, which I realized that when we started streaming.
I've got a good one for him that I don't know if he'll answer, but
well, don't say it on here. Shoot it to me.
Okay.
Because I want to save that one, because the rare chance that Nat actually hey, I'm going to see what his streams are before I go on.
That's true.
Like, wait, he's friends with that Catch 'em All Collectibles guy? Canceled. But with PSA right now, obviously they absolutely dominate the market. The premium is there. Is there anything that they can do as someone? I know you've graded thousands and thousands of PSA cards, and making a switch to CGC, it's a very small chunk in their overall business.
Yeah. But for sure. They don't notice me gone.
Yeah, but you're also not a guy who's grading 10 cards a year, right? Like, you're actually like pushing stuff through.
Yeah.
Is there anything they could do or mirror from these other grading companies like CGC that could pull you back at this point, other than just lower price?
Honestly, not really. Because like for the live streaming, I'm focused on low end cards. Sub $50 cards do best, and so the cost is really, really important to me. If I'm paying nearly $20 a card when I could be paying $10 a card, that's a huge percentage of what I'm actually making.
Right.
So for me personally, cost is a really, really big factor. But then another one for almost everyone, of course, is turnaround times, getting stuff back in a more reasonable time frame. That's another really, really big aspect. And then also with these, I don't know if you could get it, but more transparency on why your cards are getting what grades, especially when
8.5s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting, and I always like to talk to people about it, because I've seen such a shift. Even myself, I grade quite a bit with CGC now. I don't really put it out there of who I'm grading with all the time. I grade with everybody. I've got almost 100 cards at PSA that are, again, kind of in the black hole of they're there. I can see them there at least. That's more than I can say for BGS, which I will not recommend to anybody. But it almost seems with PSA, if let's say grading standards, and I don't think they'd ever admit they changed, but it seems like they're grading harder for sure. I think there's enough people anecdotally that I've spoken with that it's like something's different. Used to be just hating on New Jersey, but even California seems to be in a bad mood on some of these subs. It just seems like they're almost moving toward, I don't want to say just more of a like collector only type place to go grade your cards, but or treating them almost similar to like what Beckett is. Beckett's sort of the Hail Mary grading company. Like you just hope for a black label, right? I mean, granted, I'm talking in Pokemon space. I know there's a lot of people who grade like Weiss Schwartz and a lot of sports, Dragon Balls almost exclusively that. But I'm talking if we're looking at modern cards.
Yep.
PSA could honestly become one of those things where it's like, I hope I get a 10 and I'm just going to Hail Mary because I want to have the PSA 10. CGC seems to be almost filling a slot. And I don't know if this is just because of PSA's actions or just the sheer amount of demand that slows them down. They're kind of filling that slot for businesses, it seems like. I mean, turnaround time is huge. And with streaming being so massive with pack ripping and obviously selling slabs and doing things like that in auction houses, it seems like they're kind of growing almost not by their own, efforts. It's almost like the market efforts are like what the market dynamics are what's really pushing them.
Yeah.
So I guess more just kind of talking out loud, and I don't know if you agree with that or if you think differently, but it seems like they're really, the volume is for the first time since I've seen CGC organically being sent to them by a lot of different people. And primarily it seems like a lot of different businesses versus one whale, that sends a bunch of cards to them. Do you agree?
No, I definitely agree with that. And I do like with the new PSA standards, which they may or may not have. But with those new standards, it almost feels like they're going for a tougher 10, like CGC's pristine 10, without having anything in between a 9 and a 10.
A designation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I don't like the idea of that. And I think CDC is starting to see more like people switching more and more, grading more and more with them. Will they ever get enough to become number one? I think PSA is still
highly doubt it.
Always going to be number one just because they're so far ahead of everyone.
It's not even close. I mean, it's about as close to a monopoly market domination as you could buy. Like they really, if they increase 1%, I'm amazed because they're already so much higher than what they normally are. Right?
Exactly. But could CGC be a solid number 2 and actually compete with them? Absolutely. And I think they're getting close to that point for sure.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Well, perfect. Well, what I want to do, because I know we've only got a few more minutes, for anybody watching, just so you guys know, and you guys might have seen it earlier, I gave out a few memberships. I get 10 a month to give out, so I gave out 5 now. I put a YouTube post. I know that most people don't even look at those, and I tried to post one today and was like, can people see this? If you guys are members, whether you pay for it or you're gifted it, most people, if not all of you guys are gifted. Some of you are paid members, but I will post basically a members only post where you guys can be guaranteed to get your questions answered in these live streams. Ooh. So in essence, it's really just a free super chat. So just so you guys know, I did one for Nick, and we're going to do some questions here in the last few minutes. So if you guys do have chat questions, please drop them. We'll answer everybody's. But just so you know, for the upcoming streams, which I'll talk about after Nick and I finish up questions, there's some pretty solid guests that you probably want to get questions answered with. And instead of having a fight chat or like maybe, hey, will Peek actually read this or is he going to skip over me? If you drop them in those member posts, which I'll have one up tonight, you're guaranteed to get answered. So thank you guys for being a member, whether you were gifted or not. I really appreciate it. It's awesome to even see. I never thought I'd even get there. So I just thought I'd plug that real quick.
That's a solid membership perk. I like it. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I redid the perks a bit, so you guys can take a look at it. But I mean, that's really your main benefit is you guys get that. And then if I think there's the next tier, you get a free card edit from me, which if you follow me on Instagram, I think I charge like $15 for those. I think it's included in like the $4 membership. So it's a cool thing. But what I want to do is go ahead and drop your questions, guys. I'm going to go ahead and start from the top of the chat. We'll go through those until they're done. I need to know what Timmy is talking about here next.
Oh, God.
Did Nick talk about losing a 10,000 box of cards, I'm assuming dollar, box of cards in an Uber with Walrus? Is this true, Nick?
Unfortunately, it is.
Is 10,000 value, or did you lose a massive monster box? Like, what happened?
No, it was, I forget where, I think it was with Bierski we were talking about this briefly, but it was Chicago CollectCon last year. We went right from Collecticon to dinner, and dinner involved way too many drinks. So I brought we had a lot of stuff too. I had like 2 backpacks, I had a box, I had a binder. We were carrying way too much.
Did you not have a hotel room, Nick? Like, what happened?
Well, I live here, so we went right from my house in the morning to the show, stayed all day at the show, and then went right out to dinner after that. So way too many drinks, and Ubered from there back to my house, and completely lost. It was a whole box full of vending series sheets. There were a bunch of like the Silver Tempest, Lost Origin, staff stamp cards in there. And then there was a Japanese Southern Islands complete set in there. So I don't know. It had to have been close to that amount. And no idea whatever happened to that. I called
did you realize that
we went to, they didn't see it. I called the Uber driver. He said he didn't see it. So
I wouldn't see it. I wouldn't see it either, Nick.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be invisible. All right, Timmy, thank you. I've never heard that story, so that's amazing. Zard Lurking, how's it going, gentlemen? Chad, good to see you. Thanks, Zard Lurking. Glad you're here, man. You're always jumping in these. I really appreciate it every time you show your face with us. Of course, the man Walrus. Is this Dubsy's face reveal? Yep. He changed into a North Face hoodie. This is him now. Lurkin Lowry says, "Sup, Skool, sup, Chew. How are you, man? I'm glad to see you here. Not lurking. You're dropping in the chat. I appreciate it.
I like it.
Mr. Walrus says, "You have us fooled with the works hard gimmick." I don't know. Any man who enjoys sorting bulk, I'm going to believe that he works pretty hard.
Yeah, exactly.
Checks collects. These guys are the real deal. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Let me see here. Ivy in the chat. Trading card garage. Trading card with a D. Garage. Las Vegas. Great LGS run by Miss Ivy. She's awesome.
The one and only.
Rubber Grade, I saw you in here earlier. Thank you for jumping in, man. I don't see you in lives too often, so good to see you.
No, I haven't seen him in so long.
Dude, he's the best. Hopefully, I'll see you at Dallas CollectCon
at some point this year.
Yeah, I want to say you're local in Dallas. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. So hopefully, I'll see you at Dallas CollectCon. Chef, the other eBay Live connoisseur.
Yes. Yep.
Pokey Chef on eBay Live, everyone, if you don't follow him. Ivy said, "I'm not buying Japanese rocket out the gate. Things are too weird." I think that's a really good way to put it, honestly.
It is a very good way to put it.
It's up and down. I don't know. It's hard. You kind of, and 2 months ago, full send everything that you can possibly buy. Now you kind of got to be a little more specific. You got to think about it, for a second and see, but lots of opportunity either way. Walrus says Pokemon Center moves $2.3 million worth of cube a day. They can handle shipping. I don't think it's affording shipping, first off. And also, just think how much product that would be.
That's
how many different places.
A lot of product.
And how many different places it's going. Right now they've probably got, I don't even know the number of distributors, but I guarantee you it pales in comparison to the number of accounts that are behind from
exactly.
I mean, I'm sure that would be insane. Ivy said, Prismatic restock hit yesterday. Distro gave me a whole 6 ETBs for $600.
Ooh, well, that's no good.
Unfortunately, out of a deal right now compared.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's
not bad.
wild.
I'm seeing 110, 115, I think, for a lot of
I
people.
don't get it either, because Prismatic is such a terrible set. It feels so bad opening that set.
It's got the God Pack lottery, Nick. I did the math
that
during
nobody pulls.
Well, Bierski did too, I think.
That is true. Bierski does well with them. He's got the hot hands over there.
Well, I did the math whenever things were, kind of crazy, and it came out to almost a $10,000 pack of cards if you tend every card in the pack.
It's absurd.
I mean, you got to think about it sucks opening, but it just takes that one, right?
Exactly.
Pole Father, glad to see you here. Bierski, there he is. We just talked about him. $18.99 grading. Yep, that's about what it is. Let's see here. He says the $150 grading credit with CGC is such a good deal. It's not bad. 50% return out the gate, but you don't get the PSA magazine, which I do really like.
That is some good value there. That is.
I actually, financially aside, I really like the PSA magazine. I actually do read it, and I think they put some really good stuff in there. They got a good team working on that.
They do. That was so nice finally getting that, because we always had the sports market report, and there was never anything about Pokemon in there. And then we'd finally get like an occasional Pokemon issue. But now that we get an actual TCG magazine, it is really, really nice.
Yeah, they were going through like the SSBs and like a bunch of other. I was like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I love reading this type of stuff, and I knew Heritage did some stuff like that with their like. I can't remember if they have a magazine or if they just did like a newsletter or something, but no, PSA, anybody from there watching, the magazine doing a good job, even when it doesn't have the card. Like, it's super cool, I think.
Definitely a home run there.
Pole Father says, what is the most unusual item you've had graded? I'll let you go first, and then I will answer that.
Most unusual. I would probably say I don't know if I have any over here. Oh, I do. Hold on. Let me grab it.
We're getting the wide angle shot, Nick, because the camera follows you now.
Oh boy. It's good thing I didn't do anything. These came out at the Japanese Pokemon Center, and they're little stickers, like the Terra stickers. And I don't know about PSA, but I know CGC grades these. So I sent a bunch of those off to be graded. And they're something decently. I thought they would do a little bit better, but that's the most unusual thing that I've graded. Nothing too crazy.
What did better for you, those or pins?
I think the pins, honestly. I think the pins.
I had to ask. Pole Father, what is the most unusual item I've had graded? I grade some just random stuff. I mean, I've done graded VHS. I would say, I guess not unusual, but probably one in this particular space that people don't see very often. I do like to grade sealed video game soundtracks. So I have like there's a Nintendo, there used to be, it was called Club Nintendo, which was basically like if you did you had to get points and get a certain status, and they would let you buy products exclusive to that club. So there are remastered soundtracks for very popular games that are Nintendo Club stamped that are sealed. Those are what I grade. If you wanted to play, there's your play. But I've graded like a few Zelda ones because the art actually looks super cool. Like I have the highest graded Majora's Mask Nintendo Club official soundtrack. It's like not for resale and all that good stuff. So probably graded video game soundtracks is what I've graded.
Interesting.
See, Nick's already doing his eBay search now. He's killing me. So Beardsky says, Nick, why is the casino plus EV for some and negative EV for me? Take a Pole Father. I saw him in chat. It only takes one, man. Here's the thing. Every really good gambler quits right before they're about to win it big. So
exactly.
just keep it in mind.
You just got to keep playing. You just got to keep playing.
That's what they want you to say. Hoot hoots. Jesus, Nick, are you ever not on a podcast now? We did talk about this. Nick takes 1 week off from eBay and just jumps on every so Nick and I booked this. I mean, how long ago was this? Maybe 6 weeks? I don't even know. Like I booked it a long time ago.
It was a while ago.
And Nick waits until the week of our podcast to jump on every single YouTube channel. You know, I forget what the first one was, maybe earlier this week or last week, but you were on one. And I was like, all right, cool. Like, he's taking some time off. No. Then I saw Nick on another one. And how many have you done last week?
I think it's just been the two. I went on Java, I went on Beer Ski, and then we had Pokey Flips too. I think it was just those two though.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, because Java's doing shout out Java Akuma, 30 streams in 30 days for the month of April.
That's wild. That's wild.
I mean, talk about pumping out the content. I'll be on there. I can't remember the exact day. I think it's the 23rd, so a week from today. I could be wrong, but he'll post it. I think he posts like some screenshots and stuff. So, but Java Akuma, he's a good dude.
Definitely. Got to see him this weekend. That was cool.
Are you never not in live chat? We always want him in live chat, Nick.
That is true. It's always a good time.
Collector Kid 92 says, "Yo, what is the turnaround time for PSA these days?" I'll be honest. I think for bulk, you're probably looking at 6-7 months at this point. Perhaps longer. I said this, I can't remember what it was, maybe early January. I did float the idea that PSA does have a chance of possibly, I said, I don't know if they'll shut down. I was like, but we're probably going to get a year-long timeline of getting our stuff back if things continue the way they are. Because January and going into February, I mean, it was just like you couldn't. It was kind of like back in the pandemic, right? Like you put it in plastic, it makes money, and when that starts happening, everybody wants the plastic, and PSA is the plastic, right? So I think right now turnaround time, you're probably 6-7 months for bulk. Realistically, even if you paid for, I forget do you remember what the tier is called? Like right above that, it's like it's not Express, but it's
Value Plus or something.
Value Plus. I think that really only buys you maybe a week and a half earlier than that, because I tested it a while back and it was like, why did I pay for the extra Value Plus to turn it around? It is not 21 days or whatever they said. It's pretty slow, man. It's pretty slow. But CGC right now for Nick, I mean, rough turnaround time, say 100 card sub, maybe, or 10 card sub, whatever you think is normal. What's the rough turnaround time for CGC, just so he knows an alternative?
Oh, it's CGC is like a month and a half. They're doing really, really good.
Which probably isn't going to last long.
Yeah, no, it'll probably quickly jump up to 2 months, but
because it was 2 weeks, and now
exactly.
We've already doubled that. So, Pool Father says, "Wait, you can grade those." I don't know if you're talking about the stickers or the soundtracks, but yes to both.
Yes to both.
CGC will grade anything, just so you know. My soundtracks are actually graded by WADA, just so you know.
Okay.
Because they grade, they're the biggest video game grader to my knowledge. It's not super cheap. It's not that great, but they do run promo codes and specials pretty regularly. They'll be like game over for like 30% off or something. So it's actually not bad. They're more, I don't necessarily want to call them PC items, because if someone wants to give me a few $100 for like one or two of them, sure, like I'll sell them all day. But I will say they're mainly meant for if I do have to, vend or I borrow some space on somebody's table at a Collecticon. It's a really nice head turner because people don't see that stuff. And I think you kind of have to stand out from, just the PSA mountain and CGC mountain of slabs. Like, it's like, oh, wow, I didn't even know they did that. So, Benji says, how many prismatic UPCs did distro give you?
Yeah,
going straight to the facts.
Terrible topic. That's a terrible. I got 20. I got 23 or maybe 24. So
4 cases?
None. Basically,
they're 4 packs, so 6 cases.
But basically none.
How many did you ask for?
It was like 400 or something.
Yeah, you kind of have to. You have to. Benji also wants to know, when are you going to sell that Pokemon Snap machine? The people want to know.
Oh, never. Nope. That's staying with me. Yeah, no, I haven't even turned that thing on in forever, but it took me so long to find that. That'll never leave me.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, Benji, I think you got in last question here, so we just got to the bottom of the chat. So Benji says, Nick, have you made any dents in the Shrouded Fable pack mountain you had since I last saw you in Chicago?
Not much. There was a brief period where Shrouded Fable was a hot set, and so I sold like maybe 100 packs, but now it's back to being nothing.
I think it was the only Pokemon Center ETB left, and I think people started trying to get singles and getting some interest in it, and then it sold out, and then it was like, oh, you're just like all the rest now.
Exactly. No, I don't think Shroud of Fable will ever be anything. It's a brutal set. It is by far the worst set in Scarlet and Violet.
It was not fun for me to open either. Well, cool. We're at the bottom of the chat. So guys, Nick, this is fun, dude. I always love catching up with you, man. I so hope to see you here soon. When you come back, please do. We'll go to a food truck park and have a couple of beers at some point.
There we go.
But just so I can kind of plug this here at the end, and then I want to leave you kind of final words here. Chat, guys, if you are not a member yet, I gave out a few memberships earlier, but next upcoming stream, so we actually have Pokey Chloe coming on Friday. So it will be a morning stream. So it's going to be 10 a.m. Central, which is, she's in the UK. So it's like, kind of got to make that work. If you want some questions answered for her, I mean, she's a fantastic guest, really doesn't do live interviews almost ever. It's always recorded stuff. So if you want your questions answered after this video, I'll put up a post on like YouTube community and all that for only members to see. You guys can drop your questions in that, and I guarantee to get those answered for you. So you can watch it back at noon when you wake up on a Friday, whatever that looks like, right? So we got Pokey Chloe coming on Friday, and then we've got Matt Turner. He's the CEO of PSA. He'll be on next, I think it's the 25th. Let me make sure my days are right. So next Friday will be Matt Turner from PSA. So we've got a lot of cool people lined up here over the course of the next few weeks, guys. If you're curious about PSA, what the hell is PSA doing, whatever that looks like, you just want to compliment him on PSA. You can get your questions answered. And that's a guy who never goes on interviews. So all that being said, memberships are live. If you're gifted, great. If you guys want to support the channel, it's always a benefit. I always want to do more for you guys. So that being said, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Nick, what do you want to leave the people with?
No, thanks. Just thanks for having me on. Keep up these collector showcases. Really enjoyable. And thanks to the chat, everyone who's been watching. Do appreciate everyone who tuned in tonight, and hopefully everyone who watches in the future enjoys it as well.
You've got about 15 hours of Nick content from this week. So guys, he's put in his year's worth of YouTube hours, I think, for the year now. So we've given it to you, which is great. No, thank you, Nick. I love seeing you on this camera when you're not selling something, man. I love hearing you just talk. It's wonderful. Good combo. I like when you sell stuff too, but it's good to hear you not just on PokeFlips, but getting around. And I just always appreciate you as a person, and you as someone who's in this hobby. I think you've always brought a level of positivity that 99.9% of people don't in this hobby. So thank you again for just kind of being you in this hobby, man. Thank you for coming on.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Well, chat, I appreciate it. We will see you guys on Friday. Thank you guys again. See ya.